Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
And I really wanted to do something that would benefit the nursing. And so I decided to go down the business route. And it has been a tremendous help. And especially as I progressed to a leader, I was able to speak the language of business to administration. The name of my company is Robin Cares Health Coaching PLLC. And my niche is really to help adults that have chronic illnesses such as diabetes, autoimmune disease, cardiovascular, be able to reduce their comorbidities, their complications, and we do this through changing their health style.
Welcome, everybody, for another great episode of the Follow Brand Podcast. We are going to take it back into the healthcare field. And I tell you, the nursing field is a fantastic field. And without nursing, the healthcare field would fall flat on its face. I said it. I want everyone to know this, because without great nursing, without great nurse as and great nurse leadership, we would not have the healthcare delivery that we do have in the United States. And I want to talk to someone who has been in nursing for a few years to tell her story and why it's important from a career development, business development aspect to understand your trajectory when you take this up as a career. So, Dr. Tellez, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Tellez, and I live in Miami-Dade, Florida. I am a nurse for over 40 years, and I have actually progressed to own my own company doing health coaching.
I love that. I love that. So now you 40 years of nursing, then you got into coaching. So so now you've got to where you want to go. And that's kind of the end of the goalpost, right? If you're into football, right? That's the other end of the
Correct,
goalpost. Let's take it
correct.
back to the very beginning, but how you got into the game. I mean, what prompted you to become a nurse in the first place?
Well, it's interesting because my mother died at home. And so that was I was 13. And so that was a huge element in my life is to realize she had asthma really, really bad. And so she had been hospitalized. And within 2 days, actually, I was woken up by my father, who says, and how he knew is that she fell out of bed. And so that made such an impression on my life that that's when I knew I wanted to be a helper. I wanted to be a nurse and I wanted to help others.
That makes sense. And that sorry that trauma, and I've heard that from others that trauma kind of got them into the profession because they saw it close up. And it takes a certain type of character to be a life giver, to give care, to nurture. Where did you get your education in the nursing field?
Actually, I graduated in at Miami-Dade College. I had my associate in nursing degree, and actually, I was working at Jackson Memorial Hospital as a graduate nurse. And after I passed my boards, I stayed there for a couple of years, and then decided to go back to school. And after one semester of nursing BSN, I decided it was much of the same, and I really wanted to do something that would benefit the nursing. And so I decided to go down the business route. And it has been a tremendous help. And especially as I progressed to a leader, I was able to speak the language of business to administration and speak the language of nursing to nurses.
That is so important. And because a lot of people, they when they get into nursing, it's a lot of hours. You got to do some work. There's a lot within the bedside, but making that transition into administration takes a certain change in mindset. I mean, you discovered, you went to school, you got your education, but I like how you just said that you were able to speak the language of business, so they understood that the business or the administration understood what the nursing experience was like, so they could make better choices. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, actually, I'll give you an example. As a charge nurse, back in the day when it wasn't electronic, whenever we took out supplies, we had to use stickers. And so what would happen is nurses would go in the supply room, they would not use the stickers. And of course, what does that do to the hospital budget? You're losing money. So I was able to explain to them that we could have another nurse to help us if they would start using those stickers so that we could benefit from the monies that would be charged back and that it would benefit us. So you had to put it in their language.
Very much so. And that must have gave you like, haha, we have somebody that we can talk to. Let's bring her into a meeting, sit her down and see what's really going on. When did you like realize that you could be a nurse leader? When did the light bulb go off? Like, I think I could do well in this field.
Well, interestingly enough, when I graduated from nursing school, there was an opportunity for an internship. It was a year internship at Jackson Memorial Hospital, and it included leadership. So it was expected that when I graduated from that program, that I would become a leader, and I did. I became a charge nurse. So that was great for me because it combined working with being a nurse, helping people, as well as, some of the duties of leadership are assigning nurses, assigning nurse, the helpers, and actually helping them also to get along, because sometimes it's not compatible. So all that kind of goes into that leadership role, as well as being able to work with your director and administration to represent the nurses and what their needs are.
I think that's so important, that being a leader is about understanding people, understanding their goals, aspirations, what they're trying to accomplish outside of your own circle of influence, and is understanding what those things are. If you had to give advice to someone that's took your road, meaning they just got out of a leadership training course, maybe they graduated from a college, they're now on the floor, they're now gaining experience, they have book knowledge, they don't have experience. What type of advice would you give to that person?
Well, most hospitals, and most of us start in hospitals. By the way, I worked in hospitals. I've done home care. I've done long-term care. Um, and I've been a wound care specialist. So one of the things that I did is to really, most hospitals have leadership courses, because when you graduate as a nurse, typically you don't get a lot of business. For instance, you don't get budgeting. You don't really get a lot of leadership information. So many of them, like even like with Hospital, they had, so South Florida, they had a lot of different opportunities for nurses to take the courses on site if they can get off the floor. Uh, and so rather than to jump into going to get a business degree, start where you are. Start at the facility that you are and see what opportunities you have to learn about leadership at that point.
That's very important to understand, that you got to start where you're at and make good choices, and then commit. You have to commit. It's going to take some time. Clear where you're scheduled for the next year, 2 years, wherever it may be. But always look ahead, because that's what a lot of good executive leadership, what they do, they look 3 years out, they look 5 years out. Like, this is where I want to be in 3 years. What does it take to get there? And this is what I want to accomplish. You've been able to do that. Now, you've also got your doctorate. Is that correct?
Correct. A doctorate in management and organizational leadership.
Now, do you use that now in your coaching career?
I do. I think even when I was in HR, many of the skills that I use, and you think, what are you going to use? What are you going to use a business degree in? One of the things that I did in HR was, my role really was the director of engagement um, for nurses. And my role was to really engage the nurses and be able to find out information in order to take that information to the executive nursing leadership as well as HR. So one of the things I did as a doctorate, I needed to get you have to complete a dissertation, and part of that is really research. So I was more interested in having focus groups, meeting with the different groups of nurses, and being able to take that data back and be able to present it to executive leadership so that they can come up with a strategy in order to retain nurses. And right now, that's one of the real challenges of healthcare leadership right now, because nurses, they come in, maybe they didn't realize what nursing was. So how do we keep them engaged, and so that we can, and it's not just about the money, it's also about and they make great salaries, but it's also about the environment of where they're working. And people leave their leaders. So you need to have a program where you can actually train your leaders to be able to engage their nurses so that they can stay with them instead of hopping and leaving the organization, because it costs thousands of dollars to replace everyone that you lose.
able to speak with over 1,000 patients from all race and ethnicities. And I came to the concept of recognizing that solutions are simple, and if we solve the simple, it doesn't have to escalate to the complex. After hearing the presentation of Dr. Beverly, will it change the way you engage patients? And 90+% said yes.
I'm Dr. Kimberly Long. I am the current Chief Executive Officer for the Association of California Nurse Leaders and a nurse of 37 years. Once I got into nursing, I found that love for people could be translated to providing an optimal patient care experience with compassion, recognizing that people don't go in the hospital because they want to spend a weekend in hospital land. They go there because something catastrophic has happened to them. When I go into an organization, the first thing that I do, whether it's as a CNO or a CEO, is sit in the lobby before they know who I am and observe. Because I want to see what that organization is really about. How do people engage with one another? Do they talk to each other? Do they
Your journey has to be your own strategic plan, your personal strategic plan. You have to know what you want, and I'm a person who believes in writing goals and try to, quarterly look at those goals to see if I'm achieving them. And I've been doing that now for about 20 years. And generally speaking, I achieve about 70% of my goals.
Yeah,
That is true. And I know that happened a lot during the COVID time period where you had options as nurse, to do travel nursing, other things that came up, and maybe because of the long hours and just got burnt out, you're like, I didn't want to be exposed to certain things. And now you find a shortage in your workforce. And if I heard you correctly, what you're doing is that you're taking a pulse of that nurse, understanding where they're at, what they need, and then making sure that leadership can provide it, and so that they stay, so that they can maintain their employment there and they can keep moving forward. Are you doing that as a consultant now for the hospital system, specifically, or for anyone that's interested in understanding nursing and leadership at a high level?
No, once I left my role at Baptist, I pretty much retired. And then this is how I created my own business, because I retired and I'm sitting around and I'm like, I got too much in my head to not share it. And what I did is I wanted to go back to my roots in nursing. I wanted to be able to, actually, my niche is the name of my company is Robin Cares Health Coaching PLLC. And my niche is really to help adults that have chronic illnesses such as diabetes, autoimmune disease, cardiovascular, be able to reduce their comorbidities, their complications. And we do this through changing their health style, their health lifestyle. And if you've had a recent experience in the healthcare field, I hate to say it, but it's really like a sick system. They really focus on you when you're sick, but there's not much in between to keep you from being sick. So, I like to work with those, especially those who have parents or siblings that have chronic illnesses, and they might be in line if they have pre-diabetes, which is reversible, which diabetes is not. If they can do anything in their lifestyle change to prevent them from becoming a diabetic, that's on the table. So that's what I love to do. That's my passion. And for those who have the disease, how do we keep them from losing a foot? How do we reduce some of those medications that they need to take because they're eating correctly and they're exercising and they're doing the things they need to do?
This is so important. I'm glad you brought that up. Wellness is so important. There's a big gap there, as you just mentioned, between if you're well, right now I say I'm reasonably well, right? And then with a point where you need to be hospitalized, it's a big change. And then they're there to really alleviate your critical situation. You're in acute care, right? That's what really your hospital is about, acute care. And then there's urgent care, but just day-to-day care, caring about yourself. If you could give us some tips, and I know these lifestyle is a big thing that could be a root cause of some of the things that lead you to an urgent or an acute care episode. What are some things that you can help our audience to be aware of?
I think the first thing that you need to do is you need to at least have one annual, if not two, at least one annual checkup with lab work. That's where you're going to find out what's going on with you. I don't know. I just heard a statistic about colon cancer that people younger and younger, in their 35 and older, and it's because of a lot of the fast foods and the things that we eat that we shouldn't be eating, diabetes. So if here you are, all of a sudden you're in the emergency room, you haven't been to the doctor in 5 years. Well, suppose you could have prevented that. Suppose you could have prevented any of those acute illnesses just by one visit to the doctor, one lab work. You can catch everything from kidney disease, diabetes, you name it. One of the sports people just ended up with prostate cancer.
Yeah,
That's
right.
That's a blood test. That's a blood test. I mean, you could save your life. You could save your family's life. And I know we do have a day that we take our family to the doctor day. So if you're listening to me now, I'm going to challenge you all to, if you haven't had a checkup in 6 months, if your family hasn't seen the doctor in 6 months, I urge you to go.
I think that's so important. We take care of our cars. Like your car will do an indicator. Newer cars, they'll tell you like, hey, it's time for an oil change before the red light comes on, right? You're like, it's that
Exactly.
time. Take me in and have me checked out and get all my vitals done, and then I'm going to run smoothly for the next few months. And we don't really have that on our bodies unless you have a Fitbit or you have some kind of device or something. Or like I said, if you don't have a medical doctor that you see routinely that's going to call you like, hey, Grant, it's time for your annual checkup. So important. But we need to really take a stock in take care of ourselves. And food, you mentioned food. What are we putting in our body? Like I have a premium car, right? So I have to put in premium gas. If I don't put in that premium gas, it's not going to run right? It's going to have some major
Correct.
problems. So if we're putting it into our bodies, fast food, high sugar, high fats, we got to go talk to Dr. Tellez. She's going to tell you, well, this is probably going to be your outcome.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important, but it's one of the major things that's hard to change. We're so used to the type of foods that we eat, but it takes a conscious effort to make those changes. And although, yes, vegetables and fruits, they cost a little bit more, but what I found is those that eat red meat and pork, those are the ones that actually have quite a few issues. That it causes, because if you think about what they do to the animals to make them big, there's hormones in there. There's all kind of things in your food that really you don't need. So having I would say plant-based diet. I'm not saying to go vegan, but think about those things in your diet. If you could put more grains, more fruits, more vegetables, drink plenty of water, stay hydrated. Those are the things that are going to keep you healthy, as well as your activity level.
My name is Denzel Ross. I am the president for the South Central region of Indiana University Health, based here in Bloomington. And so I've had a lot of great opportunities prior to this. Was in Tucson, Arizona, spent some time Albuquerque, New Mexico, San Antonio, Texas, and Kansas City with multiple different organizations of different sizes. And it's just been an awesome experience, an awesome ride. And so I am excited by the opportunity to share some of my learnings that I've had along the way. Well, I think it starts with the want, right? People who want to grow, people who want to be developed, people who want to be coached, and is open to taking on that additional function and additional task. Because the last thing you want to do is put somebody in a position that they don't want to be in.
Margaret Smith. I help entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders craft their authentic personal brand story so that they attract the clients that they want with confidence, power, and prowess. The transformational training, when you see it, and I get to see it when I'm in front of people training them, I'm a reader of eyes because eyes don't lie.
Hi, my name is Jay Reynolds. I own and operate Wolf Creek Consulting. We are a top-ranked executive staffing firm that is headquartered in South Florida. We specialize in placing professionals in finance, accounting, and IT.
And my name is Miguel Joubert. I am the Director of Business Development here at Wolf Creek.
You know, when it comes to hiring and staffing, I'm sure that you've had it all, right? The good, the bad, and I can't even believe that we hired that person. There's no secret that a bad hire is very, very costly. And I'm telling you, it's roughly about 30% of that person's first year's compensation that is a negative impact on a corporation. And that really doesn't have anything to do with a team's morale and the productivity of the company. So how do you avoid that negative impact? How do you do a better job of hiring the right person? Well, there's some tried and true methods to make that happen, and we're going to go over those right now.
First, you have to find yourselves some headhunters like us. We wear it like a badge of honor. Get crystal clear on the candidates you want, their skills, experience, and personality traits that will help them thrive in your company's culture. Focus on fit. Use behavioral interviewing techniques that will help you uncover how a candidate will actually perform on the job.
And we actually have predictive models to help us make that assessment as well.
Take your time. A little bit of extra vetting on the front end can save you a world of hurt down the line.
But you know that building your dream team is a lot easier said than done, right? You have a lot going on. You're juggling a whole lot of balls and managing teams and managing processes and P&L statements. This is the only thing that we do. It's the only hat that we wear. Let us help you. We can help you to find that next perfect candidate, and not only one, but options for you to choose from.
And tell us your vacancy so that we can get right to work on finding you the perfect candidate that will fit your company's culture.
Wolf Creek Consulting, intelligent staffing solutions.
I think that's so important. I live in Florida. You live in Florida. I drink water all the time. I notice, I notice it's the humidity, it's a tropical environment, but I always have at least, anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 bottles of water naturally every day. And I notice when I travel and I go to other parts of the country, they're not drinking a lot of water. They're drinking a lot of caffeine, they're drinking a lot of sodas and other things other than water. Like, water is like a thing for me. I have to have my water, but understanding that what water does to your body and how it survives off of it. Not even going to talk about, I think 70% or more of your body is made up of water. So it might be a good source, but when you put strain on your kidneys, on your liver, and then over time, if you're not putting in natural substances, it'll begin to wear you down. Talk to us a little bit about, because I know there's energy. Do you talk to your have consultations with people about how they possibly will feel if they start changing their lifestyle?
Oh, yes. And it usually, like I said, it usually takes time. And that's one of the reasons why usually I have a program that's either 3 months or 6 months, because you're not going to change a chronic illness over 6 weeks. But over the time, we usually meet, I have education with them, explain to them what their disease process is, what are the complications. One of the things I notice when we go to the doctor, we might not necessarily get as much information because they have a limited amount of time that they're going to be with you. And a lot of it is focused on medicine and your labs and that sort of thing. And so it's really kind of medicine based. But being able to help them to understand and get the light to go off about how what they eat and their activity. And over time, at least the first 4 weeks, they notice a difference if they're following what they need to follow. Part of what I do as a coach is not only to help them with a plan and set goals, but also we have accountability goals. So it's one thing to make a goal. It's another thing to actually do it. So when we meet every week, we have those conversations about that and give them tools like being able to have a food journal to kind of when they write it down and then you share it, then you can kind of put two and two together as to why the blood sugar is sky high and it won't go down, or the A1C doesn't move. So that's one of the things we do is just really to help them be more self-reliant in their care so that when you're finished coaching after 3 months or 6 months, that's something that's going to be a part of their lives so they can be sustained.
I like that. That's like muscle memory. You've got to do it and you've got to change it. And the mind is a creature of habit. So you've got to then work on it to change the habit. I know my parents, they're very good at this. I watch them do it. That they count their calories, so they know exactly that you can eat certain things. You don't have to change your diet like completely, but you need to know how many calories, what's your intake look like, and what is the composition of that intake. And then depending on your situation, if you have diabetes or you're prone to heart disease or any kind of a cancer that's been in your body, all these different things. A lot of times, and you hear, I've heard story after story of people changing their diet, changing their intake, being able to bring in the right kind of nutrition that helps the body to heal itself. And these are good things. I wanted to talk about another topic, which is exercise. Exercise. And some people, you get middle age and you get elderly and you higher up and you're like, exercise? Are you kidding me? But you need to understand what a sedentary lifestyle can do to you. Can you just give us some of your wisdom around needing to exercise?
Well, again, when you think about calories, and even if it's weight loss, it doesn't even have to be weight loss. But remember, what goes in is going to be countered by the activity level that you have. If you're trying to lose weight, you have to have less calories in, or you're burning more calories than you have in. Most times you can start out with just walking. Just walking. It doesn't have to be anything. You don't even have to go to the gym. Some people, they love to go out. It's great. It's social. But some people might say, I don't feel comfortable going to a gym. You don't have to. You could either have equipment at home or you can just simply walk 15 to 20 minutes after you eat and just make it a consistent habit, become a habit almost, and find a friend to walk with you. Just get a walking club, put together a little walking club. But yeah, it doesn't have to be anything strenuous. Sometimes it's just a matter of, and that's burning calories. So whether you're walking, strolling, whatever level that you decide, depends on your goal and your comfort level and your ability. Some people just don't feel comfortable or they're not able to.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And there's certain levels. So you got to do what you can do. Don't focus on what you can't do.
Exactly.
And do those things, because as my father always says, if you stop using it, you'll lose it. So think
Absolutely.
about that. So try to use as much of it as you can. I want to know more about your program and your business. You talked about it that it's a 3 to 6 month engagement. I think you said it's like a weekly coaching. Tell us more about your program so people can get more information and then possibly look you up and take advantage of it.
Okay. I just lost my picture, but I will go through. Just to give you an example, I'm just trying to figure out what happened. There I am. Okay, so just to give you an example, we do introduction and goal setting. We start out with that. Then we talk about nutrition and diet. It's specific to whatever their disease process is. Typically, I start out with a 30-minute discovery call that's free, and we get to what it is that they need. It's all about them. I'm just the coach. So a lot of it is, okay, so you have diabetes. Okay, so talk to me about, your blood work. Talk to me about these. There's certain things that I'm looking for. I'm going to ask you about, and then talk to me about, are you coachable? Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is something that you can make change? Because it is going to be about making changes. And then one of the things we also do is we also look to see if we're compatible. If they feel comfortable with me as their coach, as well as whether I feel like they will be coachable. So that's the first thing. Then once we decide that this is something we can move forward with, then we have some modules that we go through. Like I said, diet, nutrition and diet, physical activity, stress management, and mental health, because that's a big one. Disease management and medication adherence. That's a big one because we have a lot of polypharmacy. I have a client now that takes 9 pills in the morning and they take 3 pills at night. And once they pull those bottles out, they can be very confused. One of them I found that was he's a cardiac vascular disease, and he has a valve. He has an issue with one of his heart valves. He was taking an old medication, Plavix, as well as a new medication that were both blood thinners. So we got a problem right there. So a lot of it is going through their medication, making sure they're taking it correctly. And I usually recommend a pill box, which makes it so much easier. We sit down, we go through, we set it up for the week, and they don't have to worry. They just open for the day or night, and they're good to go. The other thing is lifestyle modification and habit formation. And then we review it toward the end, and we do some future planning. And I do provide them, again, like I said, with some tools, whether it's we're going to do some meal planning, or maybe we're going to do a journal, food journal, or whatever their needs are. And then I usually will provide them with some articles or some resources that they can use as well.
Man, who's your favorite podcaster? Man, Grant, man. I love Grant's podcast. Well, who's Grant? I'm going to send you the link. I love Grant.
Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, is turning heads in the healthcare and information technology sectors with his groundbreaking approach to personal branding and business development. By challenging conventional strategies, he's setting a new standard for how executives present themselves and their businesses to the world. McGaugh's expertise isn't just about standing out. It's about strategic guidance, generating leads, and building networks that propel executives beyond their competition. His focus on authenticity allows leaders to leverage their unique stories, driving exponential growth and success in their industries. Beyond branding, McGaugh is a fervent advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. He's committed to helping organizations cultivate environments where innovation and collaboration thrive through inclusive cultures. And for those eager to dive deeper, McGaugh hosts the Follow the Brand podcast. Here, he unpacks the intricacies of personal branding and business growth, offering valuable insights for professionals eager to redefine their identities and share their narratives with the world.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaugh, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-Star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
This is so important that you have a process and a proven formula. And I like how you stated we got to first find out if we're a good fit, because it's not going to work. You'll be wasting your money, wasting your time if you're not going to take this seriously. And I know we talked about diet and we talked about exercise, and you just brought up another just fantastic point, which was your mental state. Stress. This is such a big factor, whether you have stress from not having enough, you have a scarcity situation, you just don't have enough resources. We talk about social determinants of health, and a lot of that is definitely mental stress, and mental stress can cause a lot of undue episodes, whether if you're diabetic, maybe you have more episodes or episodic or whatever the case may be. Talk to us a little bit more about how stress is a big factor in the overall care plan.
Well, usually for stress, I also do, I kind of do an inventory to find out where they are. If it's someone who's working, they might be having stress at work. They might be having stress at home. There might be outside factors that are affecting their stress and mental health. And one of the things I also teach is meditation, having a change in mindset, and just being able to, even if it's deep breathing, you're at work and you got that phone call, you don't have to do a 10-minute meditation. You can do some breathing exercises. So really being able to help them recognize when these stressful events are happening, as well as how do I deal with it in a realistic manner, whether it's I have an app that walks me through guided meditation, or is it just breathing exercises, just having some way to minimize that, because it does affect your mental health. A prolonged stress will definitely put you in a mental health state.
It is. And if you don't know if you have an onset of a stroke, onset of a heart attack, sometimes there's cursors that are out there, and if you're not paying attention, you're setting yourself up, and then undue stress will just trigger everything to end up in an urgent care situation, as we talked about earlier, which we don't want to be able to do that. But you can manage some of your healthcare at a high level. I want you to talk about, and I'm sure you have some, it's just a success story. Someone who has come to you, taken your program, got through to the other side, and they're doing better.
Well, I had an individual who had diabetes. She had cancer. She had breast cancer. She had had surgery. And she really was struggling with being able to manage the side effects of the chemo. She had pretty much finished the chemo, but there were some side effects. And then managing the blood sugar. She was considering, we were trying to figure out why she kept spiking, and she was on insulin, and a lot of different other medications. And she was kind of complicated. But we were able to, first of all, change her diet. And many times it's not just the client, it's also the family. When we're talking food, we're not talking cooking two separate meals. You have to work, and sometimes I work with the family as well, to help them to understand why these changes need to be made, even finding recipes. And this was someone who was Jamaican, and so I would look for recipes. First of all, talk about plant-based diet. Um, there was um, there was a client that actually had her husband had gout, so mostly ate meat. So trying to move them and moving them to a plant-based diet was the challenge, but we were able to see some changes just from being able to make a few changes. And so it's not always 0 to 100. Sometimes you've got to compromise. But as long as they're making changes, and she was able to really manage her diabetes much better. We even got a continuous monitoring device to try to figure out, okay, so what's happening? And if you keep a food diary, we can kind of figure out what might be contributing to these spikes in your blood sugar. So that was one of my cases that I was really excited for, because I could really see a change that they've made.
Oh, that's a life-saving change. That is huge. I really like your career, what you've done in your life to help others. Going all the way back from the beginning, you talked about the experience with your mother, coming all the way to full circle, how you're helping this individual with their care plan. I think that is wonderful. And before I leave you, just tell us again the name of your business, how to contact you. I think that's so important. And what I want to answer this one question, or maybe it's a statement to help not only because a lot of females they get involved with their nurse or with their care, but males like myself, we put that on the back burner. Just explain to us why that's not a good decision to make.
Well, my company name is RCHC, which is representative of Robin Cares Health Coaching, PLLC. You can reach me at and actually book a free discovery call at www.robincares, ROBINCARES, the number 4, the letter U, .com. I really, and you make a good point too. I would say men typically are the breadwinners. Unless they're bodybuilders or someone who's really self-focused, they focus on others. They focus on everybody else around them. But it's okay to take care of yourself, because think about it. The healthier you are, the longer you live, and the more you can provide for that family. Or you're at a point where you get so sick that your quality of life is poor, and you have people taking care of you. So by actually making it a point of taking care of yourself, you're really taking care of others, because you're going to be able to be there for them. They can love you longer. You can do more things, be more active, and it just makes sense to do it. But it's hard. It's hard. But I think females, they need to encourage that also.
I agree. I agree. And I have to remind myself, I just did an annual checkup and it went through everything. And actually, I had to get life insurance as well. And you never know as you're getting life insurance, all the things that they go through to make sure that you are a good risk.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a lifestyle that has been what you would call unhealthy, you might find it difficult to get life insurance or life insurance at a reasonable amount
Mm-hmm.
of monthly expenditure, those type of things. So you're going to really think about your lifestyle, how you're living your life, and how it's going to affect you as you go forward. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for being
Thank
a guest
you.
on the
Thank you for
Follow Me
having
Podcast.
me.
Oh, well, without question, this has been wonderful. And I encourage your audience to listen to all the episodes. These are the types of conversations I like to have to educate the population, to educate my audience, how to take care of themselves, all these different things, all these things roll up into one. So this has been wonderful. You can reach me at www.5, that's the number 5-star BDM. That's B for brand, D for development, infomasters.com. This has been wonderful, and I hope to see you, and I hope to see Miss Adrienne McCoy at some point in time.
She's wonderful.
She is. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you again.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund or use the Cash App at $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund. Ready to build a 5-star brand that stands out and captivates? Discover the art of crafting a strong and memorable brand identity. From choosing the right colors to making your brand unforgettable on social media, we guide you every step of the way. Learn how to design a brand that resonates deeply with your audience, ensuring they not only remember but love your brand. Whether it's enhancing visual appeal or mastering social platforms, we have got you covered. Dive into the world of impactful branding with us and see the difference. Follow the brand for more insights and expert tips. Don't just be seen, be remembered. Join us now. Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.5starbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you.